Welcome to our weekly video on Brittany's Brilliance. For those of you who don't know me, I am Dr. Brittany Weinstock. I am a FNP and founder and CEO of the Nursing Studio. Weekly, I like to share topics and tips with you guys that I coined them as Brittany's Brilliance. And if you have followed me and you've done any of my review courses, you know those are my mnemonics and things of that nature. So you'll always hear me calling it Brittany's Brilliance. So continue to follow, share this with your friends or your colleagues or anybody who you think that can benefit from any of these tips as they're preparing for boards or in practice. So this week for Brittany's Brilliance, we're going to talk about test taking tips. Now, I get this question so much that I wanted to just kind of go back over it again. I have talked about it before, but just to kind of detail it out for you guys. So when you are answering questions, because a lot of times I get a lot of reviewers that they are unsuccessful on tests, not because they don't know the content, but because they are making mistakes on these test questions and not understanding how to adequately answer them without being distracted by things or overlooking keywords. So here are a few steps for your test taking tips. Number one, when you go and sit down and look at these questions, read the stem of the question. So what is the stem of the question? That's the one that's going to have the question mark at the end of it. It's typically the last sentence in the paragraph or the question that is provided to you. And this is telling you what they are truly asking. And that's what you need to focus in on, because if you think about it, we sit here, we read these questions, they can be very detailed, and we quickly get consumed with little distractors or different lab values or different medications that may have nothing to do with what they're asking you in the question. So before you get yourself all anxious, before you get yourself overwhelmed and distracted by the fluff in the question, read that stem and make sure you know what they're truly asking you, and then start from the top and read the question. So then you can go ahead and pull out the things that actually would help you with selecting the best answer choice for that stem of what is asking you. Now, when you're reading this stem of the question, pay attention to key words. I want you to identify any key words that may be placed in that stem, such as accept, not, initial, priority, next. You know, you've seen it all the time. These are those key words that are going to let us know what we need to do. So if it's saying accept, you know it's going to be something that's going to outline, or not, then you're going to do the opposite. Initial, you know, you need to tell them the first step. So they may provide you all correct answers, but what is the initial step that you should do? So make sure you're not missing those. And the way the test is set up for MP boards now, they have the actual marker that you can highlight those things. So sometimes that's beneficial. You also get scratch sheets, so you can write down not, accept, or whatever else you need to write down, so you're making sure that you're staying focused on what it is truly asking you. Again, read that stem of the question first, then identify any key words, so you make sure when you go back to look at the details of the question that you are answering what they are truly asking you and not making careless errors by skimming across something and missing what they may be asking you. Next, after you have read the entire question now with all of the content, now I want you to look at those answer choices. And we always can at least get it down to two that we're stuck between. But that means that you are able to eliminate two. So I always say, go ahead and eliminate the ones that you absolutely know are incorrect. Get that out of there so you can have those out of the way. Scratch them out. Write them on your scratch sheet, however you want to do it, so that in your mind you have already eliminated those. So those are not distracting you as well. Also, I always say, don't sit here and just try to guess or go at the strangest answer, so to speak, because typically that's not what it is. If it looks too strange to you, it probably is too strange. So look at what is truly asking you. Mark out the ones that you have that you know that are incorrect, and then make a sound decision based off of the remaining answer choice that you have to give yourself a good chance of getting it correct if you don't know what it's truly asking or what the true answer is. At least don't sit over here and blindly guess, but give yourself a chance at getting that correct, okay? And now for our MP boards, you know there's an option that allows you to mark questions. And what does that mean for those of you who haven't taken it? It's a selection that even after you answered it, because different from our NCLEX, we can't go back. With the MP question exams, you can go back. You can answer a question, go back and answer a question, change it, go back. And I think that is good and bad. And so when you mark those questions, some people find it beneficial. It's supposed to be designed so that you mark it so that at the end of the test, you can go back, because it'll just let you select, let me look at all the ones that I marked. So then you can go back and look at all of those. Sounds great. But you know what that does? It allows you to go and change your answers. I'm a firm believer, if you already have selected, do not change any answers unless you are 100% sure that that was incorrect. Why go back and change it? You know, usually our first thought and our first answer choice is the correct answer choice. So don't start losing points by changing it. So be careful with using that marked indicator or choice that you can utilize, because it can be iffy with making you go back and change it. Now, you can utilize that to go back and change it again only if you know it's 100% incorrect. So those are my tips for test taking. Again, read the STEM, identify the keywords in the STEM of the question, eliminate the ones immediately that you know are incorrect, and then give yourself a sound judgment on the ones remaining when you are unsure about the answer. And don't change any of your answer choices unless you know 100% they're incorrect. That was just our quick test taking tips for this week's Brittany's Brilliance. I will see y'all back next week for some more tips on how to study for boards. All right.